make big plays. This is a guy who can do that. Christian Inu, 1 try, 11 tackle loss, 178 metres, and Jackson Hastings, who delivers every week, it seems like, 1 try assist, 187 metres and 3 successful offloads. For the losing Giants side, Akumatai with 40 tackles, and Lee Gaskell, who was surprisingly playing at fullback in this game, 102 metres.
Yep, sorry. Tom Andrews said, always liked Salford, me.
That's a lie, isn't it?
I know.
Can't trust a word
£1 million games, Tom.
I mean, in terms of the star players, everything I've read and heard, and I did hear snippets of the commentary of this game, but not much. But I've heard some of the post-match reaction, and I've read some of the reviews, and it sounds like Christian Inu was a class apart in this game. He certainly seemed to make meters every time he was touching the ball. And was a threat. Plus, on top of that, 8 out of 8 with goal kicking, and one of his penalties looked like it was from miles out. So there was some tough kicks in there as well, and to go 8 out of 8. Obviously, Hastings always splashes up with some nice moments as well when you're watching what Salford are doing. I didn't really see anything from any of the Huddersfield players to say that they deserve much mention, really. Selection, that is a weird situation. So last week there was no Holmes or Russell, but Frawley was played, and everyone that has watched Frawley this season thinks he's not very good. So that was a strange decision. And then to put Lee Gaskell, who's been arguably, certainly their most influential player, if not their best player this season, at fullback, and one of their other very good players this season, Donald McIntosh, putting him back out to the wing, which he's a very good winger when he plays on the wing, and he showed that again in this game. But it just seems like Wolford's really clutching at straws at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I was sort of more following along with Twitter, but from what I could see, there was quite a lot of injuries involved, weren't there, in the match, and particularly Huddersfield seemed very unhappy about some of the way that Salford were playing.
Yeah, well, I think there ended up with about 5 players going off with concussions by the end of the game. Some of them returned back to the action, some of them didn't. Matty English seemed to be the one that had the worst hit, and Simon Wolf has already said it's unlikely that he'll be able to play next week from the knock he's got. It was such a severe one, so hopefully that gets sorted out and dealt with properly, and all of those things. But yeah, you're right. Injuries definitely influenced the outcome of the second half, and also probably meant Huddersfield ran out of gas, because it seemed like they were most affected by the injuries as the game went on. Is what I picked up on. So in terms of highlight moment, I mean the first. Hold on. No. It was way into the game. The Tui Lolohea try, though, it was our friend we just talked about, Niall Evalds. He took the ball at the back, made some space for himself, and then managed to get the ball free to Lolohea to run through and score. And Lolohea's playing a lot better at Salford than he was playing at Leeds. And with class players like Hastings and Evalds around you, they help create chances for you. So Lolohea's enjoying playing with those guys, it looks like.
Yep.
Okay, let's get on to your game then, Sarah.
Yep, so...
I've got the stats. I have got some stats. Don't worry, I know they're not in the rundown that you've got, but do you want to take us through the score?
Yeah, I will do. So, at half-time, it was Wakefield 6, Hull FC 20, and at full-time it was Wakefield 16, Hull FC 26. There were 5,600 people there, and Liam Moore was the referee.
Don't you always get suspicious about a crowd that ends in 0?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
But really, there's just as much chance of it being 600 as it being 637, which I wouldn't even blink at.
Yep, I was just looking at it thinking, I bet that's not the real attendance.
In the sort of, if you look back through Super League attendances over the years, the worst offender for round numbers that can't plausibly be true was Sheffield Eagles. They had a lot of round number crowds that I couldn't possibly believe to be true.
Is that when they were at the Don Valley?
That was, some years ago, obviously, because it was when they were in Super League. But but this one, I don't know, if it was a 10 or a 20 or a 30, I'd probably not. But it's when you see 2 zeros next to each other, it just jumps off the page. It's weird. Anyway, the League Express is reporting that figure, so let's say it was that figure. I'm trying to find your game in the League Express actually now whilst I'm going to read out the stats, which say that Wakey made more ground, just about 30 metres more, and the same amount of breaks, but made 2 fewer errors than Hull. Wakey had more offloads, they had a better tackle success rate as well. The stats don't explain this game, Sarah, so once I've done the individuals, you're going to have to tell me what happened. Individually, Carlos Tumavave came in for a lot of praise on this one. 1 try, 2 try assists, 153 metres, 2 clean breaks. Josh Griffin, 117 metres. Danny Houghton, yeah mate, 1 try assist, 55 tackles. And everyone's favourite Hull winger, Ratu Nolongo, 2 tries, 128 metres. For Wakefield, Ryan Hampshire with a try assist, 119 metres and 2 clean breaks. Bill Tupu with 150 metres. Danny Kermond with 40 tackles. And Kalepi Tanganoa with 115 metres. In terms of the fan views, the first one was from Tom. Tom Andrews, he said, an FC win against relegation rival is like a massive kebab after a night out. It's nice at the time and it does you a favour, but you feel so dirty enjoying it.
Joshua's granddad said, well, I've seen better games of rugby. This one was highlighted by long-range efforts from Ratu and Loss, but it's a win and that's what counts. First 20 minutes only managed to complete 1 set of 6 and that was finished by a 40-20 from Sneed, first of 2 in the game. Still in the hunt for second. That's place, not 40-20.
And always in our shadow said 26 unanswered points sealed the win, but poor either side of this. Good tries from Ratto and Carlos, and a circus piece by Barreto being the highlights. Man of the match Tumavave had Tupu in his pocket for the game. Once more, don't buy a carpet from Liam Moore if that's his idea of 10 metres.
Yeah, it was skinny to say the least.
For both sides, though.
Yeah, for both sides, but it really does impact on any sort of creativity.
Fair. So it wasn't an exciting game to watch then. I'm
guessing. Do you know it wasn't at all. So Wakefield kicked off and we messed up the kick-off and it went out, so they had a scrum straight away. And then we defended for a while. Then we put a 40-20 in and then we knocked on. And then we continued to knock on. It felt like a game in the wet weather. There were that many knock-ons. It really did.
Maybe they've been training so much in the rain that they'd forgotten to play in the dry.
Yeah, maybe. And then, and then Beretta. Well, there was a scrum with the Wakefield's feed, and we all watched Ryan Hampshire go from one side of the scrum to the other, therefore giving them an extra man on that side. And obviously the ball goes straight to Hampshire, who isn't being marked, and goes through the line and scores under the sticks.
It did look quite easy, that one, yeah, but he is a very fast player, so obviously
he is. Yeah.
Spotted a weakness in your setup, then they've exploited it, haven't they?
Yeah. I mean, Dave, the Mighton coach, is constantly shouting, who are you marking? And, I think we needed to listen to that.
I don't think Dave wants to help out Hull FC in defence.
No, I don't suppose Dave does. But, yeah, it's still good advice. And then our first try was a kick through, and it sort of bounced up, and I think it was Connor picked it up but couldn't score himself because the post was in front of him. So Beretta somehow was in the middle of the field and took it and scored.
Yeah, I watched the highlight of that, and I didn't expect any of the players that were around the ball at the time it was scored to have been around the ball. So obviously they'd all worked hard to get into that position. Yeah,
and then our second try, Carlos just took an interception and ran 60, 70, 80 metres and half crippled himself.
Well, I listened to the first 20 minutes or so of this on the radio, and it did sound like neither team could really get a foothold. So was that, and by this time my in-laws were around, I had to turn the radio off. So did that Tumavave try swing things? It opportunistic by him, picked off, intercepted it, and did that swing things in your favour? Was that when really you took control of the game?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that was the 24th minute, and then the Sneed try came 3 minutes later, and then just before half time, Ratu scored again.
Ratu's try after half time is another one of those, like what I was just describing before, isn't it? How did no one tackle him when he first got the ball?
Yeah, but it was another one of these where Carlos finds it in his hands, sort of jogs a few metres and thinks, there's no way I'm going length of the field again, who can I give it to? And passed it to Ratu, who sort of bounced around a few tackles. I mean, to be honest, Carlos should have been stopped because he bounced around a few players, gave the ball to Ratu, who bounced around a few players and then just went through.
Yeah, and then when he's in clear air, there's no stopping him hardly, is there, unless it's Tony Clubb.
Well, yeah. And then again, poor defence leading to Wakefield scoring another couple. So, it just wasn't...
Did you ever get worried in those last 10 minutes? Or did you always think you had just about enough?
When it was 26-10 and there was a penalty, which we elected to go for the 2. And, I mean, Sneed was pretty much straight in front of the sticks. And I thought, well, that's the right call, because at least then it's 18 points. But he missed it, which was uncharacteristic. He didn't have a great kicking game from the tee.
No.
He maintains that the first one, which was... the second one, but the first one that he missed from Carlos.
Yeah.
He is absolutely adamant that he got that through to the point where he was protesting. He sort of threw his arms up once he saw the flags being waved. We thought it hadn't curled in properly, but it's not often you see a player actually complaining in that way over a conversion.
Well, it wasn't often until they seem to complain about everything, players now, don't they? Which is not what we want to see. But close call, obviously. Then close call.
Yeah, but in the warm up, he certainly missed 3 from that side that he was kicking from. So I don't know whether he's not 100% fit or what it is.
Well, he scored a good try when he showed his own, his running game a little bit, which he doesn't
he did.
do a lot. But every time he seems to do it, he seems to... He does it. He only really does it close to the opposition line, but he seems to have a pretty decent strike rate of either scoring or getting a quick play of the ball when he does run. Yeah,
he does. And actually, I mean, I must pick out. I've now remembered Ratu's first one. That was a play on the last play, and Ratu and Carlos again realised that they had an overlap and called for Connor, who sort of feigned to kick the ball and then passed it out, and we just created the overlap and went in, and that was a nice try.
So we've talked a lot about Nualongo and Tumavave, the right wing combination. Were they your star men in this one? Who stood out for you from
Carlos was very, very good. I thought he made a couple of errors later on in the second half, but overall he was definitely my man of the match.
So last week me and David were kind of wondering what's going on with team selection and how can Hull figure out who their best team is. And it's one of the problems that Tumavave once every 3 games has a brilliant game at the moment, so it's kind of difficult to get him out of there.
I think he's more consistent than one every 3.
Well, fair enough. You see all the games, don't you? So
I would put him up there with one of our best players of the season.
So that's making it hard to fit Connor and Kelly when both fit in the game, isn't it?
I think we're looking at putting Griffin in the second row. Or somebody was talking today about him going to loose forward, so I'm not sure about that.
Who does Snide play best with, Kelly or Connor?
Kelly. Well, no, I think he plays really well with either of them. But at the moment, I don't think Connor's performing.
Right, fair shout.
So therefore, I would say he performs better with Kelly. Kelly and Connor are too similar. They can't play together, but either of them works well with Sneed. But I'm honestly, I don't actually know if Connor will be with us next season.
Wow. And do you think that's part of why do you think his
Playing
form
badly.
is a symptom of that, or do you think it's the cause of that?